What's up, guys? UFC 279 just wrapped. And as everybody starts to break down, I put some YouTube shorts of what the arena looked like prior to the event. And this is what it looks like at the end of the event. Look, you see people still kind of hanging out in the back. And I will take some photos, but I got to get to this video first. All the VIPs get an opportunity to go in the octagon, take photos and everything. But ultimately, we were here for UFC 279. And what I can say about it is that it was a bit odd. You know, I have my fighter card here right by me where I put some of my results to make sure that I remember the night, because at times it seems like it's moving so fast. But we all showed up here to watch Nate Diaz in what many believe is his final fight in the UFC. And it was classic Nate Diaz. You know, I thought he looked okay. I thought he looked pretty good. You know, you always wonder how these guys that we have seen for so long are going to look in these fights where it looks like they're about done. And I thought Nate Diaz looked pretty good. I thought that if he didn't play around as much, he may have been able to get Tony Ferguson out of there earlier. Because every time he kind of put his foot to the gas, he was able to hurt Tony Ferguson. But, you know, Nate took a couple breaks, put his hands on the side of the octagon, chill. At one point, Tony Ferguson laid down in the middle of the octagon. Then when they ran towards him to beat him up, Tony popped up. It was odd. There were moments where Joe and I kind of sat looking at each other like, what's kind of going on? Because it was so odd. What's up, guys? You know, it was a good fight. But what never leaves a guy is his toughness. And Nate Diaz's toughness was on full display inside the octagon tonight, because Tony Ferguson hurt him a lot with those inside leg kicks. And the moment the fight was over, you guys may not have saw it on TV, but when Nate went to leave the octagon, he was limping very bad because his leg was beat up, but his poker face is still there. I think what's most, the most discouraging thing about it is, honestly, is Tony Ferguson's decline. It's sad because for so long he was so good in a weight division where it was hard to become the champion. So he only held a portion of the belt by becoming the interim champion. But Tony Ferguson at his peak was as good as anybody in the UFC, but his decline now has been very steep. And it hasn't been like gradual. It was very fast how he kind of fell off a cliff. I want to know, I'm kind of interested to see what Tony Ferguson is going to do next. He said he's back when the fight was over, and I don't know what would guide him to believe that he's back in that performance. Sure, he did some things well, but I don't believe for a second that Tony Ferguson should have taken that performance and feel like he's building towards something. I believe Nate Diaz is going to go up and fight Jake Paul, and rightfully so. It's a big money fight where he can go in and make a boatload of money. Even though he makes a boatload of money here, he can go make a boatload of money and in a fight where he feels he can win in a singular skill set in terms of the boxing ring. So it'll be a while before we see Nate Diaz. What I did like about Nate Diaz leaving was he did tip his hat to the UFC, to Lorenzo Fertitta, Dana White, Hunter Campbell, and everybody that has given him so many different opportunities over the course of a long UFC career. Khamzat Chimaev once again showed that he is a dominant force really to be reckoned with, because Kevin Holland did believe that he could beat him, but Chimaev just buzzed right through him. Guys, you don't go 4 UFC fights, 3 UFC fights without getting hit. He has now done that on multiple occasions. The guy has won 3 times where his opponent has not landed a strike. That is unheard of. It does not happen. And he emptied the gas tank against Kevin Holland, telling me one thing and one thing only, that he did not think Holland could compete with him. You know, a lot of times we get to these rivalries and we get to these guys that allegedly dislike each other, but then they get locked into the octagon. Well, Kevin Holland tonight showed that he's willing to fight Khamzat Chimaev. Unfortunately, I don't think that he's at a level of a Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev is a future champion. I want to know a little bit more about the weight cut issue. In the octagon, he said that the official pulled the plug on him night before. He was closer than 7.5 pounds. I love that Joe Rogan asked him the hard questions. He tried to avoid it. I don't want to talk about this shit. Joe goes, no. You have to talk about it because people think that you're a future champion. If you can't make the weight, how can you become a champion? I love that Joe held his foot to the fire a little bit. And then he gave us some answers. He gave us some answers. He said something to the effect of, I knew that I was going to fight this guy. They told me to eat some vitamins, drink some water because I wasn't healthy. So he kind of gave us more than he would have given us if Joe didn't press him a little bit. So I'm happy Rogan pressed him a little bit to find out. I did not agree with the D-Rod versus Li Jingliang decision. I thought Li Jingliang won the fight. But if you heard on the broadcast, I said round 2 was close. There is a world in which D-Rod won that round. And if he did, it's very, very competitive in the scores. While it may surprise some, would not cause for an uproar. So even though I didn't agree with it, I'm not in a place where I'm really to start flipping tables and all kinds of other shit like that. I thought Lee won the fight, but, you know, it is what it is. Hats off to Lee, though. Taking the fight with a bigger guy, heavier guy. He's the only one that really had to step outside of himself in order to keep this fight card together. Because everybody fought somebody else that's around their size or very, very close. Irene Aldana, in that up kick to the rib that finished Macy Chasson, she was losing the fight. It was done for her, and she was able to pull a miracle in order to win the fight. Iwan Tutelaba and Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker pulled out a submission, something we have never seen him do, and got the victory. So many fighters look fantastic tonight. But lastly, I want to talk about my boy Chris Barnett. You know, this man has been through so much, guys. This man lost his wife days before his last fight. Lost his wife. Still went out there and fought. Lost the fight. But to come out and smile in the way that he did before, to come out and be this happy after going through that is something that I could never really comprehend. Not only did this man lose his wife, guys, he had to make a decision to pull the plug on his wife. And he still went out there into the octagon because he had an obligation and he fought. Did he win? No. That's miles behind me. Did he win? No. But he is to be commended for even doing that. And for him to still carry that spirit into the octagon, truly amazing. And the support that he got tonight, it made me feel good about people. Because I know people have heard his story, and they saw the little short fat black dude out there getting beat on very bad early, overcoming and winning the fight the way that he did, and then the way he took the microphone and he inspired so many. Chris Barnett, man, for so long he was someone's training partner. To finally be getting this moment to shine is very good for me to see. UFC 279, even though it didn't end up in the way that we thought it was going to be, I feel like it was a better fight card, much more competitive fights. Sure, Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson was odd. It was always going to be odd, but it damn sure was fun. Nate Diaz, thank you for all the memories, my man. If you are gone, the UFC is a little bit worse for it. Tony Ferguson, keep grinding away if that's what you want to do. Guys, like, subscribe. Also, hey, you guys supported us so much this week. I love you, man. I could not do this without you. UFC pay-per-views are the best. And I have the greatest job in the world. And we are supported by the greatest fans in the world. It is really, really amazing. Fight card started a bit slow, but it really did pick up. And Nate Diaz truly did show once again why he is such a massive star. UFC 279 was one for the books, but now it's time to go to Abu Dhabi for UFC 280, which is going to be a freaking blast. And I cannot wait for it. Until next time, guys, like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.